Hey there, I'm Virginia storyteller Wayne Jordan. I regularly get storytelling inquiries from event planners, and most organizers have never hired a storyteller before, so they don't know how much to pay or how to prepare for their program. So in this video, I'll share some of the basics on how to hire the perfect storyteller for your event. So let's get started with how to hire the perfect storyteller for your event. Hiring a storyteller or two for a big event could be a good move. A good storyteller can add a bit of wonder and whimsy to your event, or motivation and inspiration if that's what you want. But choosing the right storyteller can be trickier than solving the New York Times Sunday crossword puzzle. There are a lot of options and a lot of details that must be considered. Leave out some steps and your event could fall flat and your audience might leave grumbling. But get it right and everyone will be smiling and patting you on the back. The key to this system is to find a teller who fits your purpose, engages your audience, and brings the right magic to your venue. But in executing a successful program, there's more to consider than just the storyteller. In fact, there are three primary considerations when hiring a storyteller. When all three come together, you'll have a delightful event and everyone will sing your praises. But just like a chain, the event will only be as good as your weakest link. First, and most important, is to consider your audience. The second consideration is your venue. Only when you have a handle on the audience and the venue are you ready to research storytellers. So let's start by talking about the audience. Who's going to hear the stories? Adults, kids, business people? Or is it a mixed audience? What do they have in common and why are they there? What are their expectations? How do you want them to feel when they leave? Inspired? Entertained? Motivated? You need to know your audience thoroughly to find a teller who speaks to their values. Make sure the storyteller's content and style match your audience's sensibilities. Don't spend time creating a program until you first understand your audience. Next, let's talk about your facility. The strengths and weaknesses of your venue directly impact the type of storyteller you hire. Small details like comfortable seating arrangements, good lighting, and clear sound contribute to an environment that allows the audience to be receptive to stories. So work toward finding a storyteller whose style fits your venue. A teller who can work a microphone and fill an auditorium probably won't do for a cozy cafe, and vice versa. And some tellers incorporate props, music, or audience participation. So be sure your venue can accommodate those needs. For example, is the auditorium so large you'll need sound reinforcement? Or will you occupy a cozy room? If sound equipment is needed, will you provide it? Or does the teller need to bring some? Is the lighting for the speakers area sufficient? What are the seating arrangements? Is it adequate for the crowd you're expecting? It's important that the audience is comfortable and the storyteller is clearly seen and heard. So look closely at the venue's capacity, lighting, and acoustics. Do your best to estimate how many people will attend and have enough seats available, but not too many. Too much room is just as bad as not enough room. I recently told stories as part of a community event in a 300-seat auditorium. There were only 50 registrants for the entire program, and most people sat in the back of the auditorium. So between my position up on stage and the first row of people down in the auditorium, there was about a 50-foot gap. Making eye contact was difficult. So if your auditorium is too big, block off the back rows with yellow flagging tape. Both your audience and your storyteller will benefit. Once you have a grasp of your audience and facility, you're ready to move on to the storyteller selection process. Finding a great storyteller is a bit like dating. You have to kiss a few frogs before you find your prince or princess. Be persistent. Search Google for storytellers in your town or state. With some strategic searching, you can weed out those warty amphibians and zero in on talent that will make your event a success. Here are my suggestions for finding your perfect storyteller. First, and this is just common sense, look for storytellers who specialize in your type of event. If it's a corporate gig, find someone who regularly spins yarns for businesses. For children's events, find someone who specializes in children's stories. For mixed audiences, find an all-purpose storyteller who's comfortable with a range of ages and interests. Watch them perform, either live or on video, to determine how well they draw in an audience, hold attention, and inspire reactions. Even though videos rarely show an audience, you should hear laughter or other vocal cues that indicate how well a teller's stories are being received. Don't be dazzled by credentials alone. Like every other vocation, there's a wide range of skills among tellers. A teller with degrees, certifications, memberships, or awards may not click with your audience, or they might be a hit. But the proof is in the telling, not in the credentials. Read a teller's reviews and testimonials, and get references if possible. Remember, your audience won't be looking at resumes. They'll be listening to stories. Some of the best storytellers I know are old-timers in the Blue Ridge Mountains. They're unschooled, but very gifted storytellers. When you interview potential tellers, don't be shy. Discuss their experience, the material, and their comfort level with your audience size, age range, and your venue. Ask what stories they might tell. Discuss your goals, your audience, and your venue's strengths and weaknesses to determine if a teller can work with you and is a good fit. And then there's money. Don't be shocked if a teller's price seems high for a short program. Remember, a teller will have invested a lot of time in preparation, travel, and perhaps meals and lodging before they even step onto your stage. When you've found your storyteller, negotiate the details. Write everything down and get all parties to agree. Your storyteller needs to know everything you know about your event, your audience, and your venue. Also, you need to know everything there is to know about your teller's strengths, weaknesses, and abilities. Cover things like, what time will the teller arrive? What equipment do they need? How long are the sets? How many stories will be told? Are there restrictions on recording or taking pictures? Who owns the intellectual property rights for the performance? When does the teller get paid and how? What happens if the event gets canceled? Active storytellers usually have performance contracts that spell out all the details. If they don't, you should ask them why. Not having a contract is a red flag. Follow these tips to find a storyteller tailored to your event, and you'll be well on your way to giving your audience an unforgettable experience. The right storyteller will have your attendees laughing, crying, and connecting with complete strangers by the end of the night. A carefully planned program will have a positive impact on your audience, your organization, and your reputation. To view a sample storyteller contract or download my Hire a Storyteller checklist, go to the link in the video description. Thanks for watching. I'm Wayne Jordan.